TGIF, everybody. How's everyone doing? The Boothjists, how are you? It's a new name to me. Michael Weissman, how are you? Mike Delfino, Bran.
I'm gonna say this, Dale. Good morning, and I have to say an extra good morning to Ryan and Kman. They were up, and so many of the ForexAnalytix community was up at 3 o'clock in the morning from the UK, trading the Bank of Japan last night. We had a full house last night. It was a lot of people in that chat. So anyway.
Correct. They were good morning, Blake. Good morning, Dale. They were more
morning. You must be really good morning
there than during a normal day, it seems.
Yeah, everybody was there for the volatility.
So let me guess, this was the witching hour, these two candles in here. Wow, you had like
that was
three.
The DOJ.
All right, so you had 300 pip ranges from that.
Yeah. Just before you kick into that, Dale, headlines cross the wires for the Bank of England. Ben Bernanke is going to lead a review into forecasting at the Bank of England.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh. What do you make of that then?
Well, he's probably got
Bailey needs help, obviously.
He's got a better chance of doing a better job than they have so far.
Just be careful if he says something is contained. All right, count on it not being contained. So, all right. I bet you guys were scalping your brains out, and why don't you give me like the play-by-play from last night, and I'll point to the candles and tell me how you handled it, what the room was doing.
Who wants to start? Do you want to start, Kay?
Yeah. I would. Look at the red candle just a few hours before, Dale. The one that dropped from 140. That was actually already the Bank of Japan, because there was an article out who were actually bang on the money, saying that they were discussing to tweak the YCC. So the move was basically, the base move was done ahead of the Bank of Japan. Right. And then I don't know if you look at Ichimoku clouds yourself, but then you look at the width of the move on the dollar yen over the Bank of Japan is exactly the width of the daily Ichimoku cloud. And, wow. Yeah. So the move higher, and we are seeing that in the options as well, is probably people selling out their options and not being overly impressed. But so we have been discussing it in length, of course. The key word here for going forward is change, and another key word is the pace. All right, so we are definitely now in an environment where the Bank of Japan is changing something. They widened the YCC, even though Ueda afterwards said it's part of monetary policy, and then he said, but it's not yet normalization. So we are saying the one thing and then the opposite. But there is some change there, okay? Now, he did also speak a little bit, without giving anything definitive, about the pace. And if you look at the expectations for inflation, if you look at what he said, it's going to be slow. So that is the two things that I took away from the Bank of Japan. I think volatility may be a bit slowing. We have to take into account what the end of month models are saying, that the yen could actually see a bit more traction. But to me, the real measurement for yen strength or weakness will come start of August, I reckon, when the market will have digested the end of month.
Well, I'll tell you that 138 level better hold. And,
exactly.
Now I could see what Blake's talking about,
exactly.
Head and shoulders. That's pretty clear now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
but the neckline is coming in lower, right?
Yeah, no, you could 38's a bigger number than the wick that it had when it took, 38 close, 3780, right in there. But to me, my bias would be lower.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly where the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud, the daily cloud, is now as well. So if that would go and you confirm as I said, start of August, it could really, yeah, then it
So
could go.
let me ask you this, if it takes out the cloud on the downside, does the cloud start raining on the instrument?
Yeah, it's actually rainy season, I think, in Japan, so it could rain a lot.
All right. What kind of cloud is it? Cumulus nimbus or Stradivarius?
I'm not a meteorologist, okay?
All right.
I'm a specialist on pandemics.
Anyway,
and,
you guys sound so, really awake and sounds like
hey,
you had a good time.
who wouldn't after 3 jars of coffee and 15 Red Bulls?
All right, check your heart rate, buddy. Anyway, anyway, okay, let's move on to, what happened with the ECB and, our room forecasted it. I think it went to Blake's head and shoulders target, maybe even a little further. I don't know why I have this blue horizontal line here, but it held it. I think that Euro had a pretty negative week. And so a lot of the lows that we've posted this week, for example, what we're, seeing at the end at these lows, and the Euro under this low held the 9-day. These are weeklies. Aussie just keeps going, no heat, no recovery. The best recoveries in cable and S&Ps. So, and gold not bad. After that close, I'm a little surprised to see gold up $12 after how it got whacked yesterday. So I think the lows again here. Yesterday was an important day, and it looks like the lows that were established are very key support levels if the market's going to launch again. If it fails, it's Wile E. Coyote underneath here, and we'll see gold back under 1900. But the fact that it held, I guess I have to be open to, was it a one-day event? But the lows are important across the board from what I see. Why don't we get Stel's reaction to the silver move?
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As it was an interesting move yesterday, because what happened the day before, we had a mildly dovish Fed, and yesterday we had a clearly dovish ECB. So what happens yesterday, because of the dovish ECB, the euro sells off, which means that the DXY rallies. The market looks at that and they go, oh my God, the dollar strengthening. So so what happens when the dollar strengthens? Yields go up and metals get smashed. So my reaction was, well, it makes no sense. Just because the ECB was dovish, does that mean that the metals should get hit? It doesn't make that much sense, because let's face it, as I've been saying for the past few weeks, I think the main macro kind of setting at the moment is that price pressures are abating and inflation is dropping. I'm not saying it's going to be low forever, but for now, it's been getting lower. And especially for the US, headline CPI, I think, is going to be hitting 2% now, which is the target. It's very close to that. It's 3% last time, and it's expected to go lower. So as long as that's happening, as long as inflation is lower, is that good or bad for metals? Well, theoretically, it's good, right? Yeah. But yesterday, because we had the euro selling off, we saw the Dixie rallying, and the market probably got spooked by that and started smashing metals as it usually does. I think this.
Well, there was one other ingredient still. Yields were going up. Yields were going up pretty good yesterday.
Why were yields going up? We have rates stopping, right? I mean, the central banks are going to be stopping. Every central bank is turning dovish now. So why should yields be going up? I think it was just a reaction to the Dixie rallying, or also, let's not forget that the market was very, very short dollars and long bonds. So we're seeing, I think, a relief rally in the dollar and in yields. That's, I think, probably the biggest driver of what we saw yesterday. But anyway, it's
okay. Anyway,
it's
there's TLT.
You
it put in a pretty lousy day yesterday.
Of
Looks
course.
like yeah. Okay. So to me, it looked like it was yields, and we'll see. I mean, everyone's saying lower yields, but they sure are stubborn.
They are for now. Absolutely. Yeah.
They actually came back and played around that breakout area, and they're almost back at the highs. I don't know if that's how bearish it is, but to me it looks bullish. I thought they'd go to 360, 350,
Yeah.
but they don't have to. Anyway,
By the way,
yields pressure.
Mike is right. He's saying also end of month shenanigans. That was a factor yesterday too.
Okay. And S&Ps are bouncing back today. But why don't I ask Blake, do you think this key reversal is going to hold, or it's just going to be another false signal? Oh, he's busy. Anyone want to comment on, the action that we had here?
Sorry, guys. I'm adjusting some
all right.
audio settings. Yeah, just don't mind me for a few minutes.
Okay. Don't mind Blake. Any comment on risk yesterday? Looks like, no follow through here either. Yesterday's lows are important.
Yeah, it was a bearish candle yesterday for sure. We were on the highs and then we sold off quite dramatically. But look at the chart you're showing. Is there anything bearish about that? We've been saying this for weeks and weeks, months actually. There is nothing bearish about the S&Ps. Look at the DAX; it's just about to take out all-time highs. So it's very tempting to try and to pick it up and say, yeah, I did it, I picked it up. But really, if you've been trying to do that over the past few months, you get burnt almost every time. So nothing bearish at the moment.
Stop talking about my trading. Anyway, it was even hopeful. The VIX tried to come out of the hole yesterday, and it's giving some back. They call natural gas a widowmaker. I don't know what we would call the VIX, but anyway, it's not saying nothing yet. It actually held this low yesterday while the S&Ps were blowing off. Just keep an eye on it. You start getting back through 16, then 20, we could see 20, and then you get through 20, and and that's not going to happen if it's melt up to new all-time highs. But I still think there's a shot for at least a correction in the S&Ps, maybe all the way back to 4360 or so, and 4200 would be a pretty big break. So,
hey, I'm sorry, I'm guys, I was in the middle of doing a couple of things that unfortunately I could not fix, but I missed a lot of this conversation. But Dale, I got to say that the pivot from yesterday on the S&P, we came down and tested what we needed to test, and we held it. That if I can, do you mind if I take the screen real quick?
I don't. Okay. No.
Okay. I was just going to say that this is, we've been looking at this support at 45.25 literally all week, and we dropped there yesterday, following the all the moves from, that headline from the BOJ and all the ECB and all that fun stuff. We held that support. While we're above there, there's no correction that we can see, right?
That's another point in case when I was going over the markets, that you go through the whole board, and yesterday's lows in multiple instruments are very key to hold. They're bouncing. Everything went to an important support level, and it's bouncing today. The only thing that had follow through was Aussie to the downside.
It's pretty wild. One of the other things I wanted to mention is, I know we were just having the conversations about the BOJ and everything else. I gotta take a step back really quick and point out that the BOJ is like really the last central bank to keep monetary policy extremely loose. And when they're adjusting this yield curve control, and I'm sure Ryan and Kman, you probably discussed this a little bit, and correct me if I missed what you guys said, because like I said, I was away from my desk doing a couple other things. They're adjusting yield curve control, but it's adjustable, right? So during periods of I think you said it last night, Kman, in the chat room, which makes 100% sense. If they have a period of higher inflation, they can make the adjustment at that moment in time, but they can loosen policy just again right after that. And so is it really that big of a deal, or that much different from what they're doing right now?
Yeah, that's what we discussed also on the flow show, those little details, where they hiked or they put up their inflation expectation for 2023, but then brought them back down for 2024, which is like those hints that the weather is probably going to normalize at a pace which would not win a snail's race, so it's that remains to be seen.
And that's why when you look at the Nikkei and you go, okay, well, yeah, they did tweak it, but look at where the Nikkei is at. I mean, this is post BOJ, and the futures are right back, back there. I mean, this isn't like a dramatic change. What I was more concerned with as an investor in, let's just say stocks, Dale, is if you saw the BOJ really making some definitive, yes, they're going to adjust yield curve control, but the missing ingredient that we didn't get last night is their 2024 forecast of inflation dropped back below 2%. So
the issue as well, Blake, is that they actually did not start to raise rates yet. They do the YCC, which we can discuss that or argue about that, which is really monetary policy as well, even if they say it's not. But they let it go a little bit. But then if you look at the picture that they produce themselves, the 1% is again a red line. And the Bank of Japan consulted with the major banks in Japan, and the major banks in Japan are apparently saying that they don't see yields naturally spike above 1% either. So you're still left with quite big interest rate differentials, and a Bank of Japan which is not hinting at saying okay, let the horses loose and we change interest rates and let's go. No, they didn't do it yet.
Yeah. And so I think the S&P is queuing off of that, and stocks in general. And, people that are getting up in North America right now, taking a step back, reading everything that's happened overnight with the BOJ, they're like, there's nothing really to worry about right at this moment in time. Plus, we are going into the end of month. And this is we're going to see a lot of end of month flows. And speaking of which, I mean, we do have PCE data coming out, which we're going to actually have to watch really carefully today. But right now, you're going to have a little bit of window dressing. So I don't know if we're going to see much unless we see a really, really hot print today out of PCE. I don't know if we're going to get too much downside pressure in the S&Ps today, or anything else. Now, one of the other things I want to point out, I don't know if you guys discussed the Canadian at all. Have you guys talked about that?
No.
Okay, thank you. We have Canadian GDP, and I want you guys to look at this chart really carefully. This is I would call it a triangle consolidation. We're stuck at the 50% retracement. I'm long, just so everybody knows. I know most traders in our community know this, but for those of you that are not in our community, I'm long, and I'm long from down here. So I'm still long, and of course I'm hoping for a break above, the 132.50 level. That's really been key resistance for us for the last week and a half is this 132.50, 132.40s. And you can see we're just rejecting it. But if we get above that, that could suggest a little bit more of a squeeze. And I think this will be a big mover, not just the dollar Canadian. I think you can watch the Canadian yen, which happens to be in a nice, well, let me pull it up this way. This is a better chart because I have all my drawings on it. You can see we're in a bit of a bear flag, and, we start breaking through this support zone. That is going to be quite bearish. Now, obviously, the yen's moving on its own. The yen's got its own issues overnight. You can see all the volatility, but just look at this support and look at how critical this support level is. This whole support zone that comes in around 104. We're trading Yeah, we're trading, quite a bit off of it right now, but yen pairs can move 200 pips in a day. So don't think too hard on that. Just realize this is a huge support area for the Canadian yen. But I know Ryan, is it Ryan? Is it you that's been trading the Euro Canadian quite a bit?
Not for a while now.
Or was that you
keeping an eye on
that
that?
Focused on that one.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on that big 146.5 line.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Euro Canadian's back at the 618 retracement. So you can think real big support here. So if you're thinking, okay, big support here, Euro Canadian, go back to the dollar Canadian, big, resistance right here, very well supported as well. Weak Canadian data could really, spur some movement here. Now, I haven't read anything, and I haven't seen this. Maybe you guys have. Have you seen anything from a flow point of view? Any like hard analysis from any of the banks?
JP, well, on the yen, JP still thinks the yen is going to continue to weaken. That is
really? Okay.
what I've seen.
Okay, so dollar buying, yen weakness.
Well, yeah, I guess so. No, but for
the end of the month,
the end of the month is the other side. Huh? You should, they should. It's in our newsroom as well. If people want to consult, there's two different banks saying that it should be a bit of dollar selling and especially yen buying. One of them was saying, which I agree upon. If you look at the monthly moves in equity markets.
Got it. Well, if you look at the euro is definitely recovering right now. Now, I have to say this: if you are, and obviously, this end of month, people in Europe have already been trading those flows. But if you guys are just basic technical analysis people, the euro just stopped right at previous support, acting as current resistance. Maybe a lot of the flow data has already been taken into account. So on a hot PCE number today, which we're going to get that read in about 8 minutes, hot PCE number is going to put the euro back at these lows. Now, I do want to say that the dollar index, a big deal to me is the fact that we are going to, unless something changes dramatically today and we get back below 100.80, we have a false breakdown setting up in the dollar index. And the dollar index, if we can break above, 102, which is again previous support, current resistance, it acted like that last night. If we can stay above this, let's just call it 101. We close above 101. We got a false breakdown on the weekly charts, and I think the dollar index has some more room to recover. And I think about like the ECB yesterday. I mean, that was a pretty dovish meeting. What was your takeaway from the ECB meeting yesterday, Stelios? I heard you talking a little bit earlier. I don't know if we had this discussion already, but what's your aside from wanting to pin a poster of Christine Lagarde above your bed, what are your takeaways from yesterday's meeting?
No, I think it was relatively clear. The negative economic data that we've been seeing from Europe, Germany specifically, has been noticed, right? And how can you not notice? And the Europe's driving force, which is Germany, has been for many years, is struggling. So the ECB for once are looking like they're going to be proactive, and they're just translating that into their monetary policy, as simple as that. But obviously, if data changes, they're going to be flexible, I guess. But I think we cannot ignore the bad data that we've seen recently, and that's what they're doing.
All right, Ryan, what was your takeaway from the ECB yesterday? I know you do the tan and scarf monitor. So what was your takeaway from there?
It was FOMC Mark II, really. She almost said just exactly the same lines. She was asked if there's more to be done, and she said she wouldn't think so. So that was the same as Powell saying that rates are restrictive. So it was pretty much the same as the Fed. We're topped in rates. There might be one more to come, but the market's saying that's it, you're done. And,
so
now we've got to play the cuts.
Yeah, now it's really now we're really going to be focused on data moving forward. I'm assuming. I mean, this is now where data starts to matter. US versus European data, what the rate differentials are between bond markets and what the market starts to price. Kman, are you a believer that the Fed is going to be a more hawkish central bank than the ECB going forward?
Oh, I think they can work hand in hand. The issues are going to show up in the real data, I think. And for the rest, I think they will be working hand in hand. And ECB should have been more hawkish for longer because they started later. Sorry, but my personal view is that they are going to stop at the same time, or like approximately at the same time. What also struck me was that even the hawks at the ECB now, in the aftermath of the meeting, are saying that a pause in September is possible, and that puts them really on the same line as the Fed. So that means that, as I said, even the hawks are now talking about a pause. That struck me after the ECB meeting.
Okay, that's interesting. Now we got just a few minutes ahead of Canadian and US data. Last minute thoughts here before the data is released. Let's start with you, Ryan. Anything that's on your radar going into today's data release?
No, I'm just managing my option that I've got left over for dollar yen. Probably need it a good 100 pips higher to make any money in it. I took a little hedge last night, but no, apart from that, I've had a good week. I had my plan right at the start of the week for the Fed and the East and the BOJ. I've made money out of it, so I'm a happy bunny.
Awesome. Stelios, any last minute thoughts be ahead of the data?
I just going to say, I think that the inflation numbers, so a PCE that we have today, are probably going to continue to surprise to the downside, just as they have been for the past few months. So,
and the market's expecting it too, right?
Well, the market's expecting a number to come in lower than the last print, but I just think that it's going to be, for choice, I think it's going to be weaker than an expectation. It's been the pattern over the past few months.
Yeah, well, anyway, Spanish CPI came in a little hotter overnight, right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Kman, any last minute thoughts before the data is released?
Yeah, I'm in sniper's mode for the end of the month, and I've got one base position apart from my long-term silver, but it's I'm still a bit long to the China. And I just want to repeat the last line of yesterday's F.A.C.E. You asked me about my view on what was the best trade, and I said 111.50 as long as $0 caps, it's going down, and that's what happened. So if people listen to F.A.C.E., they would have known.
All right, there you go. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull up. I had everything adjusted last night because I was looking at yen pairs, and different time frames. So let me go ahead and make sure. Okay, I got the dollar index 15-minute chart. I'm going to pull up the S&P right in the middle here, and I'm going to put it on a 15-minute chart just so we can see instant reaction from equities. I'm going to put it in. Let's see, go over here, and I'm going to have it on yields. And then we'll be keeping an eye on the Canadian too. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to actually flip that. Let's see. I'm going to have, there's yields, there's the S&P, and instead of having the dollar index, we're going to put it on the dollar Canadian. See how that instant reaction on the Canadian GDP data is. But yield should give us yield should give us a decent view of what's happening with PCE. Let me pull this up right here. Dale, we have just a few seconds. What are you thinking, man?
I'm done for the week, Blake. I'm not going to screw up a good week today.
It's been a good week. I think we've done some planning of this week. So it's been a good week for me too. So good. I'm with you, but it's been a long week. I know for you guys in Europe that stayed up for the BOJ, you guys are probably ready for some beer or wine or something. So
yeah,
here we go. We got just about 10 seconds till the data comes out. Let's see. Remember, end of month flows coming through. A lot of volatility here. And
breakfast beer.
here we go. Canadian GDP, a little worse than expected. Got revised up though. So
Employment cost index a little bit lower than expected. Remember, Chair Powell is looking at that. There you go, 0.1 lower in core PCE, 0.1 lower in PCE. So as we said,
yeah, little weaker.
Little weaker, yeah.
A little weaker in general. All right. So we're seeing some taller weakness. We're seeing stocks enjoy that. Actually, equities are moving as a result. Yields are coming down. Dollars moving a little bit lower, like I said, following this weaker inflation data. Here's the dollar index. You can see right over here. Do you have a guess today, Dale?
No.
Okay. All right. So you do not have a guess, which is completely fine. All right. Well, it's summer. It is.
Yeah.
It is summer. Well, I know for one, it's been a long week, and I am going to say thank you all for a great week and a great coverage from the ForexAnalytix team. So many people in the ForexAnalytix chat room last night. I think everybody's probably been put through the ringer. Remember, it is the end of month. Let's go into some last minute thoughts from the team before we sign off for the week. Stelios,
I think there's going to be two big battles. One, Dixie at 100.80. That needs to hold, like you said very correctly. And 10-year US 382.83 is very big level. So if those two manage to hold, then that's good news for dollar bulls. If not, look out.
All right. And let's see if we can get that blow off top, shall we? Ryan, what are you thinking here?
Mark your ranges for the summer. One thing I said on the flow show is when you come through these big weeks, these big events, central banks data, whatever, you look at the price, take a longer view, 4 hour daily. Have we broken anything? In this case, we've not broken anything. So your ranges are set up, and that's what you need to watch over the summer.
Yeah, I mean, look at risk. I mean, look at the S&P here. I mean, dude, it's stronger. And the Dow is that high. I don't know if we have any big earnings this morning that have come across the wires. I've been so focused on FX. Just looking really quick. I don't know, nothing.
Write down the lows of this week for whatever instruments you trade. Breakdowns could happen underneath them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dale. Kman, any last minute thoughts as we go into the wrapping up the week?
Yeah. Not specifically for today, but I hope the models are right for the end of month, and then I'll be looking to buy dollars on Monday in some form, perhaps against the euro, or if we're close enough on the dollar yen and holding the bottom end of the daily cloud, that will also see me interested.
Oh, did we just lose Kman?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought
and it's exactly where those big supports. Yeah, sorry, Blake. It's exactly where those big supports are as well. Look at the daily cloud.
Yeah, it is right there. Right there, of course. All right, guys and gals. Well, Dale, I'm going to pass it over to you. I think it's been a hell of a week and a lot of great coverage from the team. And, I hope that those of us that have been dealing with this hot weather, it can taper off. I'm going to go play golf today in 110-degree weather. That'll be fun later this afternoon.
Oh man. Well, good luck. No three putting.
I'll be three putting all over the place.
Look for some shade, bro. And
right.
I want to thank the team, and I believe that we accomplished what our mission statement says. It's build up and edify traders every day, every week, every month, and some great technical views, and so good to have Kman back, and being at full strength. I don't think there's a team better out there anywhere on the net, and appreciate the effort, guys. And let's do it again, because that's our job. We'll do it again next week for everybody. And the way to say thank you is to do something for yourself and join our community. So you're thanking us and you'll benefit yourself. And that's going to be a wrap. Remember, if you had a windfall week, maybe pull a little money out of your account, make it real, reward yourself. You know, they're just like chips in your trading account. They don't have the same feel as when you take out some cash or run up your credit card. So enjoy, okay? Because time is our most important currency, right? So thanks for hanging out with us, spending your time, and know that we're helping you. I know it. I hear about it. So
And
have a
thanks
great
for
weekend.
being the best host on the net, Dale.
Thanks, Stel. And you got the
Yes, for
schedule
sure.
you got the schedule I sent you last
I
week.
got it.
Right?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank
All
you.
right. So everyone
Thank you, Dale.
recharge. Yeah,
Thank you, Dale.
recharge.
Great calls this week. Absolutely
Yeah.
great calls.
It's great to be. I'm not against being lucky. Anyway,
Right, you are, sir.
have a great weekend, team, and you too, F.A.C.E community. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See you on Monday.
Thanks.